What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So happy Friday. Let me know if you have the weekend off and everything, what you're going to be playing this weekend. I think I'm going to go back and do a little bit of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I finished up Rage 2 at this point. I might check out a few things on Game Pass as well, and then work through Final Fantasy 12 a bit more on the Switch also. But today, guys, we have a few things to go over, which include, and I'm not kidding, a new update for Smash Bros. That brings VR, Labo VR compatibility into the Smash Bros. Game, which sounds crazy, but to be honest, it actually kind of works, strangely enough. We also have to talk a bit about Game Pass on the PC, and then Call of Duty Modern Warfare did get its debut. And it is something. It's very controversial already. We're going to go over all of that and more today, guys. As always, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit the like button. It does help out. And get subscribed as we roll towards E3. A lot of news going to be dropping. It'll keep you guys up to date right here on the channel. We're actually going to start today with Ghostbusters because, yes, the Ghostbusters, the video game, something we talked about a week or so ago where a rating showed up for an Xbox One version of the game. It's been officially announced by Saber Interactive. They put out a trailer, there's a full poster and everything out for it, and yes, it's for all platforms. So it's coming to the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, the Switch, and PC, but on the Epic Game Store. It seems like, I guess, Epic Games snatched that one up, but it's Saber Interactive. I guess they worked alongside them with things like 2K, NBA 2K with their series as well. So not overly surprising to hear that Epic Games would be doing that. Anyway, it's cool to see this. I'm very, very excited to see what they have here with this game. Here's the thing. I don't think it's going to be anything too crazy, but if you missed the original back in 2009, which, by the way, it's been about 10 years, I guess now it's been like a 10-year anniversary. So if you missed out on it originally, it is an outstanding game, and I'm not kidding. I'm not messing with you. It's a good game. It is the third Ghostbusters movie, essentially, and it was on the 360, PS3. I played it on 360. They also brought it to the Wii, which is a bit different art style. Motion controls, I'll be curious if gyro controls are implemented, and I was also on the DS, but most people remember the 360 or the PlayStation 3 version. Either way, it's coming out this year, and it's worth checking out. Something else we talked about here recently that appears to have been confirmed is a new Darksiders game, which most likely is Darksiders Genesis, as we talked about before, being at E3. They actually had a full panel description put out that you're seeing here that says Darksiders Action Adventure Evolved, the discussion about the inception of the Darksiders universe and where it's headed next. This panel will coincide with the E3 2019 unveil of a brand new Darksiders game that takes the franchise in a fresh direction. So exciting stuff there. I'm curious what they mean by fresh direction because, well, it's basically an action adventure beat 'em up RPG style game. I wonder if they would do something weird like go 2D with it, right? Like a 2D style platforming game. I'm trying to think a bit outside the box there. They could go just the full RPG route. There's a couple things they could do, and it's very interesting to see how they kind of change the game up, although they have I thought they had one more character they had to go through. Someone could probably point out which horseman it was that still needs to go, but hey, maybe they get this game. Maybe it's just an offshoot of the current story. Either way, very exciting to hear that another Darksiders is happening, because that means that I guess the third one really did do well enough for them to continue the series pretty quickly, actually. Also, real quick, Baldurs Gate 3 might actually be real. It might be getting unveiled, well, maybe next week, maybe at E3, but one thing's for sure, there is, it seems, a website, as you're seeing here, that's been up over the past day or so, and in the source code, it does mention Baldurs Gate 3, by the way, and this one's actually from Larian Studios, the same place that did Divinity, so people are getting pretty excited about that. Baldurs Gate is an older series. We had the enhanced edition of Baldurs Gate 2 in 2013, which was a game from 2000, and then the first one was 1996. So people have been waiting for the next one in the numbered series for a while now, and I get why people are pretty excited to see this. And guys, some of the quick news out of the way, let's get to the bigger stuff. We're going to start with Smash Bros. VR right away. This, of course, is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate on the Switch, and now it has Labo Toy-Con for VR. I'm not kidding. It sounded crazy when I first heard it, right? Because this actually popped up early ahead of the update that is now live, by the way. You can go download it and try it out in VR. This had actually leaked online earlier. It was on Twitter. A bot picked up the update that seemed to have happened, and we had full text and everything, and it described that the functionality would be added, but we didn't really know what it was going to do. at all. We just knew that it would some way be in VR, and it sounded weird because can you really play Smash Bros well enough with the headset like this? I don't really know what else you would do. Well, no, it seems to be mostly a spectator mode from what I've gathered. I've played it very, very, very briefly before recording this video, and it worked well enough. I was actually a little surprised, a little caught off guard by how much better it looked than things like Mario Odyssey. Way better than Zelda, by the way, by like a mile. It looks way better than Zelda. That's probably due to the frame rate being higher and then the resolution seemingly being as high as the screen would allow, which is 720p, and then of course cut in half, but it actually is pretty neat. You can look around the stages, which is the coolest thing actually, is that you can seriously just look all around it as you have CPUs fighting each other. And this is actually what I wanted Nintendo to do. See, VR is a cool concept for a few things and not always everything. That's the thing. If you play something like Zelda, it's not going to work well. But if you have a game where the whole concept is to explore. So Nintendo has it set up, a game that you even buy has a ton of older locales, maybe from even Ocarina of Time and stuff, and you literally get to just walk around and check everything out from a first-person perspective with kind of that 3D effect from VR. I think they have something there. Like, I think that's actually a really good idea to do, and that's kind of the vibe I got with this, is that they have this VR, and it's not a main feature. It's kind of one of those, oh, that's neat kind of features, and you might get bored of it and eventually stop. But if there was way more stuff to look at, you'd probably play it for hours and hours just to check it out, and that would be a really cool idea. So I hope that's kind of what Nintendo has in mind with what they're doing here with Smash Bros. VR. But yes, you can play all the different levels that I've seen. Oh, I've tried a few of them, and you look around and you can pretty much explore to a degree. You can zoom in and stuff as well, but kind of a neat perspective while you're seeing all of the mayhem go on for Smash Bros. But I don't think it's something you're going to play with competitively, obviously, or even any of that. But hey, maybe you want to watch, I guess, competitive or something with it. I will see what they do. Anything else with it. I think they're just trying to make the Labo VR as relevant as they can, and interestingly enough, they're integrating it into a lot of their bigger games. So interesting there. There's also another update that will allow you to use the figure players or the amiibos, where they will go off to the internet and they'll train. And I remember doing specifically this with Villager, with the Wii U version, where you could build them up to a high level and then let your friends try to beat them. And generally, they got so good that they couldn't beat them. Your little amiibo would just destroy all of your friends, but it was a cool concept, and sure, throwing it in there is something else to have, but most people saw this and said, VR, that's the interesting part, and honestly, it's actually pulled off fairly well. Next up, let's talk about Call of Duty Modern Warfare. We actually had a little trailer go out, gave us the release date. It's October 25th. It's coming out on the PS4, the Xbox One, and the PC. On the PC, it will release through, as we would figure, the Blizzard launcher with Activision and all of that, and that's how they want to do it there, and well, they have a launcher, so makes sense. They don't want to pay royalties to like Steam or anything. I get all that, but here we are now with Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and I was very, very curious going into this. It is a soft reboot, which means I assume they're changing up the story, they're going back, they're redoing a lot of stuff, and that's fine because it's also on a new engine, which is really cool to hear. They're even saying it's a generational leap almost with this engine, so I'm interested in it from that point of view. But then I did see the trailer, and it does look really good. In fact, it actually seemed to disturb a lot of the different games journalists, people that went and saw this thing, so much so that they include that in all of their writing. Now, when I'm looking at this, I say they're trying to obviously strike a chord with the audience, and as they say, make you feel essentially like you're there and emotionally and everything invested. So I like that idea. That's good. And this is something that they have been working on for quite a while, so much so that the campaign seems to have taken up quite a bit of their time, and they are trying to be controversial. Like, that's something they seem to be actively leaning into, and I'm actually okay with that because I feel like Call of Duty has just played it safe for so long now. I mean, we're up to the point where they're just using dashes for Black Ops 4. They didn't even use like the Roman numeral or anything. They just said, just put some tallies in there, they'll figure it out. But I like the idea of this game. I'm looking at it now. It's definitely not going to be for everyone because there have been some things that have already popped up. This thing's already all over the place controversial. I thought we would at least get to the game coming out before a lot of articles and opinions and hot takes were taking place. It's already happening. It's already happening. In the trailer, there was a scene where there was a child soldier, and it does appear that there is going to be at least one scenario or level where you do play as a child soldier, and that is going to be an interesting thing to see. Now, I'm going to have to play the level before I tell you if it really is good or bad, but it seems like they are leaning into, as they say themselves, things you would actually see in the headlines today. So that might actually disturb some people. Yes, the different journalists who went and saw this with a preview said that some of the missions they saw did feel like no Russian from before back in the 360 with Modern Warfare 2. And again, I'm interested in that. That is interesting because it's different and it actually feels like they put time, effort, and thought into it. So we'll see about the campaign. I excited there's a campaign, right? That's good. And then it goes a bit further. There's not going to be a season pass. Any maps they put out will just be free. Now, this could be a double-edged sword. I'll say that now because you don't want to split up your player base. So the maps archaic system. Like, come on, you have a season pass. Why are you doing that? Not everyone's going to buy it. And then the map sizes, you won't get maps as often, the ones you bought, because not everyone may have bought them. If everybody has the same maps and you can keep a good player base, you can do, you go ahead and say it now, microtransactions much, much better. I think that's what they're going to look at on the back end. But at least for now, there's no $50 season pass or anything. Again, there's probably some other catch. Trust me, this is Activision. I'm not putting it past them. But to hear that there's no season pass is actually a good thing. And so we have a new engine, a controversial campaign, classic multiplayer that's going to be shown at a later date according to them, and even full co-op missions that are custom set up for co-op so that multiple people can play through it together. It does sound like one of the better Call of Duties so far that we've seen in a while, but again, sounds like it. We still need to play it, and we still need to see other aspects like the multiplayer. But one thing's for sure, I'm really, really looking forward to this so far, and it's coming out October 25th. So not terribly far off in the distance. And our last bit of news, let's talk about Game Pass on PC. We've talked about this a couple times, kind of thinking that Microsoft would be approaching that and actually putting that out there so they can get a subscription fee from PC gamers, something they can't get easily when it comes to Xbox Live. It's very difficult at this time to convince a person using an open platform they need to pay them to use their services and be online when other launchers do it for free. And for the most part, like Steam over the Windows Store, they do it better. So what's Microsoft doing? Sounds like they're going to do Game Pass and they're going to introduce, they say so far, at least 100 different games from well-established publishers. And they showed, as you're seeing here, a little graphic that kind of explains a few of them. You can see, of course, Deep Silver, Bethesda, Sega, and a few others. And it does appear that they're going to go over this in more detail June 9th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Now, there's still a lot of questions here. The biggest one I have is this going to be a one-time fee in terms of the Xbox One and the PC, or are these different? So if I pay for Game Pass, as a service on the Xbox, does that mean I already have Game Pass on the PC, or do I have to pay for both? So is it $10 on the Xbox, $10 on the PC, making it $20? What do we have here? That's my biggest question. Then, of course, game library and compatibility and everything else. One other thing to note here about this, Microsoft seems to be opening up more and more to Steam and other platforms, as they are actually putting Gears of War 5, that's right, Gears of War 5, their newest big blockbuster game out this holiday, on Steam. They also say 20 other Microsoft-published games are coming to Steam, so it seems like they are opening up, everything they can to get their games out to everyone, which makes sense. That's what Microsoft really wants to do. But Game Pass, I think, is the thing that they're going to use to drive people to the Windows Store, and that makes a lot of sense, right? And I am curious to see if the game library will differ heavily. Will there only be games that are available on the PC and not on the Xbox? Interesting stuff here, but it's exciting if you are primarily a PC gamer, because I will admit, even if you're on PC, I have to assume that Game Pass deal looks pretty enticing at $10 a month for over 100 games. And we'll finish up today with the comment from yesterday, as you're seeing here, from Ray King saying, I've been waiting 5 years for a high-quality Avengers game that isn't just another LEGO game. I will be waiting for more info, but for now, I am hyped right now. I usually can't keep up with gaming news right now because of the final exams in school, so you are one of the people I look for when it comes to gaming news. Keep it up. I will, Ray. And again, over E3, it's gonna get really crazy, so you'll probably see a lot of videos popping up. But good news about the Avengers game that we're gonna be seeing at Square's press conference, or their presser that they're going to do. Hopefully it's like a Nintendo Direct. I assume it will be like a direct pre-record and everything. But it does appear that a few more details have leaked out about the Avengers game that include 4-player co-op, which is cool, customizable heroes, and it does sound like it's going to be an always online game, but they do say single-player aspects as well. However, they mention an ever-changing game, so it sounds like a games as a service. Most people are saying it's a games as a service, but with single player elements in there as well. Either way, it sounds like it's a big, massive project, so I'm hoping they nail it, because I really do want a really fun co-op style experience with the Avengers. It sounds awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit the like button, it really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about, whether it is Smash Bros. Ultimate in VR. How do you feel about that? Have you played it? And was it fun? Or did it surprise you? Let me know about that down below. It's a weird mixture. What do you think the next game is, by the way, that's gonna get VR? Because this one kind of came out of nowhere. So Mario Tennis VR, I guess? I mean, come on, Pokemon Snap. They're sitting on a gold mine. Also, what do you think about Call of Duty Modern Warfare? Do you think they're going in the right direction, very realistic, and add some controversy? Or do you think they should have just stuck to the basics? Modern Warfare 4, you know, standard online, everything. Let me know what you guys think about all that down below. Guys, have a great weekend. I'll see you back here Monday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Time for Newswave.